on the subject of recruiting. I talked to a couple USC people this week that were very high on their attempts at Justin Flowe. Is he a reasonable target for Miami?
Justin Flowe is going to be visiting Miami unofficially in March. He just told to 24/7 Sports, that was released, I believe, today, that information. So he's coming from California to Miami on his own dime for an unofficial visit. So that indicates interest. And I know I'm plugging this feature, but I really believe in it. It's called the Recruiting Rules. It's still up on the front page of State of the U. If you go down, I forget which rule it is, but it's follow the visits. I think it's Rule 6. If a kid visits, especially from cross country on their own dime, that means something. And I always say, especially for out of state and out of area kids, because like Georgia, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, that's in the area for Miami. From California, left coast, that's not in the area. So if a kid makes his way to campus, if anybody would ask me, if this visit was not on the books, I would say there's no chance with Justin Flowe unless or until he visits. That's what I've always said for all of these different kids. So still, and he might, change his mind and say, oh yeah, I'm not going to come, but he sets foot on campus and then there's a reasonable expectation, or at least a chance. It becomes real and tangible then, because right now it's hypothetical with any of these kids from anywhere else that's far away. But once they set foot on campus in Coral Gables, then the game is afoot and there is a chance. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be 100%. And he, like I said, he might even decide, hey, I'm not even going to take an official visit to Miami. But things start to become real once visits happen, especially unofficial visits, which, again, the kid and their parents pay for, and long distance visits from California to Miami. So is there a chance? Sure, until he rules us out. But yeah, when he steps foot on campus, then things start to get a little bit real and we'll see what happens.
Fred Langston asking, Kim, do you know anything? Is there anything true to the story about Miami crashing the Florida State meeting in Orlando?
That is 100% true. There was a Nike coaching clinic camp thing for coaches. So obviously no players, adults. And it was in Orlando, and Florida State was scheduled to have a session. And the University of Miami coaches rolled up in their Adidas gear, 3-Stripe Life, and they had a social hour at the time that the Florida State session was supposed to start. So it went from registration into the Florida State session. This is 100% confirmed. I've personally spoken to a couple people who work for the University of Miami athletic department in the football area who have confirmed that to me. I've spoken to other journalists. There are pictures of this from the high school coaches who were there, and they're talking about, oh yeah, like you just pull a power move, you roll up to Orlando, and you have like, it's football coaches, like just dudes being guys. So you got a bunch of beer and you're like, hey, we're going to go meet people. We're going to build these relationships. Yeah, you know what? You did your registration. Oh, you're waiting in line for registration? Come on over. Let's hang out, have a brew. The line's going to go down. Oh, you're already through? They're not even started yet. Come on in, hang out, do that. That's 100% true. Like, I don't know how much stronger I can say it. Like, they absolutely went up there, did it, had a good time. And I mean, I'm not going to say that they totally usurped the Florida State session and like everybody was only over at the social hour and not at Florida State's coaching clinic. That's false. But the fact that Miami's entire coaching staff and several recruiting staffers were up there and they did that and they had a social hour where they were giving away free beer to high school coaches, absolutely 100% true.
Is it safe to say that Mark Richt's coaching staff would not do that?
Oh my God! Come on! I mean, like, no, absolutely not. Would not have done anything like that. If you're looking at like the "let's be jerks" moments, copyright pending or patent pending, because I coined that for you. But let's be jerks moments in Mark Richt's coaching career. You got whatever year that was in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, where the entire Georgia sideline went onto the field and celebrated that first Noshan Moreno touchdown. So you got that where literally every single person on the roster, with scholarship or not, that he said, yo, we're going to score first and I want everybody to run out there. And they did that. Cool. Awesome. When he lost his mind, Mark Richt, in 2017, I forget what game that was. North Carolina? I forget what game it was. It was at Hard Rock Stadium, and there was like a holding penalty that wasn't called, and they got like 2 sideline warnings, and it was a 15-yard penalty on him, and he snapped. I mean, he went off the walls. That was it. those were the two moments in his career that it was like that kind of Miami bravado. Like, yo, we're here. We're going to do this. Like, I'm going to blow a gasket in support of my guys because John Garvin is getting, horse collared and, thrown to the ground. But then you call a penalty on us, or you don't call this holding. And that one time when he sent the whole Georgia program onto the field to celebrate. So I say that to say that if you extend that out into something such as this, like a recruiting thing, like I'm going to go out of my area to a competing company's event with a competing school, and I'm going to host a happy hour, social, whatever. There's no way, no, absolutely not. He was gonna that is a thing. Mark Richt did a lot of great things. Mark Richt is a great man, and I do not want to disparage him at all. But he did not have that streak in him like Manny Diaz to go up there and pull a stunt such as this. No way, none.
I think he did that in the Orange Bowl, didn't he? Isn't that when he blew the gasket?
Against Wisconsin. It might have been. Yeah, it was definitely at Hard Rock Stadium, and he blew a gasket. But either way, whichever game it was, sure, it was that game, and it was the Florida Georgia game, and those were like the two moments of anything really with that kind of bravado, with that kind of gravitas to it, of that same kind of just like F the haters, yo, we're gonna do this. No. I mean, if he were still coach, his coaching staff, would not have done what Manny Diaz and them did in Orlando, last week. But I mean, that's cool. Like, I wish Mark Richt well. Like, I thank him for what he did, and to everything there's a season. So Al Golden did some good things at Miami, and good from a structural standpoint to get us through the cloud of the NCAA thing. We didn't win enough games, and like, yeah, cool. But there were some things that he did well. Mark Richt took the program to the next step. And then there was a step back last year. But now, hopefully, Manny Diaz, as he steps up to be a head coach, can take the next step forward with this program. So I'm not going to disparage Mark Richt, but I will say that whole coaching clinic thing would not have happened if he were head coach. 100%.
9-4, won a bowl game for the first time in ever. 10-3, won a division championship, started the season 10 consecutive wins. Yep. 2 disparaging losses. The Wisconsin game could have gone either way against one of the 10 best teams in the country, so I don't think that was a bad effort. So jogging onto the field, setting up for the kickoff against LSU, this looked like a program based on results on the field and recruiting rankings that was taking off, and then it all just came crashing down due to a lot of bad choices and a lot of bad loyalties. Not bad loyalties, but misplaced loyalties.
Right. Yeah. I mean, don't want to fire your kid, and also don't want to. I mean, and
get your kid a Division III job. Let him cut his chops there. I don't get it. It's.
I said it on here. Like I said it on here. Mark Richt was coaching for 30 years. You got to lean on those relationships. Get your son promoted out somewhere else. Boom. You go to Thomas Brown and say, "Look, I know you played for me and everything, but I got to bring in the offensive coordinator. So I know you're not going to take a bump down back to just running backs coach. So maybe part ways. I'll put in a good word for you somewhere else." He obviously landed on his feet at South Carolina right away. Thomas Brown did. So all those kind of things. But yeah, just anyway, I don't want to necessarily belabor the point about Mark Richt and everything. But yeah, I don't think that what we saw would have happened. And, hopefully, this new Miami and this new energy continues to spin forward.